right, Barack, what's the next stupid tier list you want us to do now?
Next up is the How to Train Your Dragon franchise.
Wait a minute, I don't see Rescue Riders or Nine Realms on here. What gives?
Are you serious, Joe?
Those are irredeemable cash grabs, Joe.
Has anyone here even watched them?
I mean, I've seen the first season of Rescue Riders.
Why the hell would you watch a cash grab made for children, Joe? Is it to help with your dementia?
I just wanted to see what it was like, Donald. I'm a fan of the franchise and wanted to give it a chance.
It is kind of sus, Joe.
Yeah, I bet you just wanted a conversation starter to be able to get close to kids so that you could smell them.
Do you really want to go there, Donald? Why don't I have the FBI reopen some of the files we have about your old friend Epstein?
Jesus Christ, guys, relax. They aren't on this list because none of us have watched them, and even if we did, they would just go into F anyways.
Fair enough.
Makes sense.
All right, well, first off, it looks like Bone Napper Dragon.
Are you sure? I can barely read the damn pictures. Why are the icons a grand total of 8 pixels?
Oh my God, just shut up so that we can get through this list before your nap time, Sleepy Joe.
It's Bone Napper Dragon. I made this tier list and I know the order.
Fine. I think that this should go in B tier, as even though it isn't the best thing in the world, it is good, wholesome fun and does not come into conflict with other things.
I agree. I think that it has decent animation and music. Also, although it isn't that funny, I think that it is not offensive to anything.
Are you kidding? This short introduces the hammerhead yak and the hammerhead whale. These are two of the most powerful characters in the entire series. The hammerhead yak, despite being a mammal covered in fur, is able to reside in molten lava without any issues. Both also have the ability to talk to each other and have direct communication with the god Thor himself.
Donald, those two aren't real. They were just part of Gobber's made-up nonsense.
You idiot, Joe. That was what the audience was supposed to believe so that you wouldn't think the Bone Napper was real. Then when it is revealed the Bone Nappers are real, that shows that everything Gobber said was true.
Actually, Donald, I'm pretty sure the joke is that the Bone Napper was real despite all of Gobber's lies.
Jesus Christ, you're both dumb. But I don't care enough to argue anymore about this. Put it in B tier. I need to save my energy for later in this tier list anyways.
Okay, next up is Defenders of Berk. Honestly, to save time, I think we should also do Riders of Berk at the same time.
That's a good idea. They're basically the same thing anyways. I don't know why people separate them when they talk about them.
They should just be called DreamWorks Dragons.
Can we all agree that they are extremely mid and belong in C tier?
Sure.
Yep.
Good, now we have Gift of the Night Fury. I'll just save everyone's time and put this in S tier.
Wait a minute. S tier should only be for the movies.
Jesus Christ, Joe, I know you did not just imply that The Hidden World is better than Gift of the Night Fury.
Of course it is. None of the shorts or shows beat the movies in terms of quality.
Holy shit, this guy is serious.
Joe, I don't think it is fair to rank something lower just because of the medium it was presented in.
Gift of the Night Fury has the most important scene in terms of characterization in the whole franchise. Plus, The Hidden World is hot garbage, and the writers forgot about the actual meaning and importance behind what happened previously in the franchise, including Gift.
Can we save the talk on The Hidden World until we get to it?
Fine, but what I said about Gift of the Night Fury is still enough to put it into S.
Astrid in Gift of the Night Fury is the most annoying and out-of-character load of garbage I've ever seen. I can excuse the yak-nog scene because it's funny, but the eggs explode scene is just annoying. If the short had just been the story with Hiccup and Toothless, and maybe Astrid's support there, I would have given the show more credit. But as is, it cannot be rated S tier.
It does have the best Hickstrid moment, though.
Exactly. Thank you, Obama.
Look, I think that where Gift of the Night Fury go is going to depend a lot on where The Hidden World goes. So how about we put it in A tier for now and come back to it?
Fine.
Book of Dragons.
More like Book of Trash. F tier easily.
What do you mean? This provided good lore and expanded everyone's knowledge of the universe, while also letting us see how the characters normally interact with each other more. Furthermore, the way the characters talked to the audience allowed for reference to many talented writers to base their fan fictions on.
Joe, have you ever even been able to watch the entire thing without going to sleep?
Well, no, but fine, put it in D tier.
Haha, good one, Barack.
You know, I think it's very strange how much we are agreeing with each other, Donald.
Well, we'll see how that goes when we get to The Hidden World and Race to the Edge.
Well, at least How to Train Your Dragon 2 is next. Pretty easy S tier, right, guys?
Yep, this is Prime Dragons right here. The only point that may be controversial is if it should belong in first or second.
Are we going to do that?
Oh, God, no. We'd be here all night. Besides, The Hidden World is next, and that's already going to set us back longer than it took both of you to get coronavirus under control.
Hey!
All right, just put 2 in S tier. I don't want to waste more of my brain cells before we get into this dumpster fire.
How to Train Your Dragon, The Hidden World. You both know my mixed feelings on this, but I think it still deserves to be an A, maybe even an S tier.
How is this not an S tier? It is the perfect conclusion to the series.
Holy Jesus.
Donald, if you get too personal about this, I'm going to end the call right now and finish the tier list on my own.
Don't worry, Barack. I won't burn him too much. Before I start, though, tell me, is this tier list based on the quality of the movie in general, or specifically as a sequel in the franchise?
Why does it matter?
Well, the movie by itself to a casual is a pretty good movie, since they would not really realize how much bullshit it has that breaks lore and goes against everyone's characters, plus the messages presented in the first two films. The animation, music, and voice acting would probably put it in S tier.
No shit.
But as far as it is when compared to the rest of the franchise and to people who actually understand the story, this is max D tier, and it may be even F tier.
Are you out of your goddamn mind? The story in the hidden world comes to a satisfying conclusion with Hiccup and Toothless realizing that the best thing that they could do for each other, not just as leaders but as friends, is to let each other go so that they can be where they belong and live their lives in a more safe environment.
Are you listening to yourself, Joe? You literally just advocated for segregation but hid it around the idea of safety. That's the equivalent as rounding up, I don't know, the Asians, for example, and making them all isolate themselves away from the rest of the population to avoid a potential conflict between them and everyone else.
What's wrong with that?
No way, Wilson. Get the fuck out of my server. You're banned.
What did I...
Do you really want to be the one to talk about segregation when you have literal KKK members endorsing you?
Here we go. Sleepy Joe starting ad hominem attacks because he doesn't have a better way of defending a bad movie.
You know what?
Enough. Please, let's just calm down so we can get through this. To answer your question, Donald, I would say that both factors have equal weight in this tier list. Now, since I know Joe wants to put this in S tier and Donald wants to put it in D tier, and neither of you will budge, I think that I have the final say as to what is going to happen. Now, I would say that considering Donald said that as a standalone, it may go to S tier. I think that it would be fair when considering both factors. I stated that The Hidden World goes into A tier alongside Gift of the Night Fury. Now, come on, we are all presidents of the United States. If we cannot compromise on this, then what kind of message are we giving to the rest of the nation?
One that still isn't as morally wrong as in The Hidden World.
Donald, come on, man.
Fine, but this is outrageous.
Joe?
Fine, but only if it goes in front of Gift of the Night Fury.
I already said that we aren't ranking them in order, but okay. Next up is How to Train Your Dragon 1.
S tier.
Finally, some bipartisan unity. Now we are at Homecoming.
F tier.
Why couldn't every part be like this? How about Dragon Racers?
D tier.
C tier.
Damn it, Joe, you ruined it.
Fine, D tier. I don't care enough to argue.
Last but not least is Race to the Edge. Now, I personally really like this show, and I felt like it really fleshed out the characters between the first and second movies. It also introduced some fan-favorite characters like Vigo, Heather, and Dagur.
Are you fucking kidding me? This is your worst take since Obamacare.
Yeah, Barack, this show is so trash that I was going to suggest making a new tier under F tier for this to go into. Plus, it didn't even introduce Heather or Dagur, you mongrel.
What are you guys talking about? This show is not that bad.
My guy, this show created more plot holes in the franchise than in Donald's tax returns.
That's a low blow, Joe, but I'll let it slide because you are absolutely right. The only reason that I think it should go in D instead of F is because of the first 2.5 seasons. But everything starting from the Defenders of the Wing is straight diarrhea.
I'll agree to that.
I think you guys are being way too harsh.
Well, then where would you put it in?
I was going to put it in either S or A.
Well, Mao, if you're not going to take this seriously, I'm out.
Same, you've lost your damn mind.